The hardest part for me learning how to ride the Alaska mountains is that endless basketball, never-ending visual where you just can't see what's next. It was just really intense to try to figure out the runs and all the different changing terrains, because every time we looked at it in different light, it would look different. Sometimes something looked steep, and then we went back 4 hours later, and it was too flat to even coast across. So, there were so many things to ingest that it was a hard game of chess with that mountain.
There's much more ice and glacier than what I'm used to. And so this for me was a learning progress. I mean, I want to stay alive. So yeah, you have to learn fast.
Yeah, glaciers are their own animals. Just, faces you with weird skiing conditions where you make a turn, it's soft powder, and then wham, blue ice. And just the ever-changing terrain of glaciers with the crevasses and kind of the optical illusion it gives you. It's been a massive learning process for big mountain speed riding.
The wind conditions on this trip have been borderline ideal. We've only had it kind of affect us a few times on launches. So the couple times we had a downwind push, we really have to get skiing then about 25 miles per hour. And it just makes it a little bit trickier to launch. It doesn't really want to come up as quick as it could.
That's not the way your canopy wants to fly. It wants to receive air into its nose and pressurize. If it's getting pushed from the back, it gets real twitchy and dancy. So for me personally, the downwind takeoffs were the big challenge for me. I don't have a lot of practice on those, so it was a new animal to try to tame.
I know these mountains pretty darn good, and we've identified these objectives, with skiers and snowboarders. But then you have these guys come out and they're looking at completely different things. In the beginning, I'm a little bit nervous because it's very radical terrain and there's a lot of consequences. But then, they actually go out and they launch and they make it look like the most pristine and flow-like line that I've ever seen.
There's a lot of different techniques to speed riding. It depends on your terrain. But, in general, I had to play a lot around with trying to do real big checkup, slow down your forward speed turns, because these mountains are big and steep and intense. And if you let it go full flight on your wing, you're gonna start going so fast that you're doing a lot of skimming on the ground, not necessarily doing the skiing part of it. And then something that was really cool here is it is so steep and just drops off that we were having to launch off of a feature, but we had so much altitude, we were having to do big hook turning maneuvers where we pull on one side and it basically flings us around into a roller coaster style loop that drops all this altitude and lets us join the mountain again. So it was fun to play with those.
It's definitely been very mind-opening to me. It's not like you get bored out here, but coming to the same mountain range for 10 years and looking at the same lines, it starts to become a little bit redundant. And these guys have more or less unlocked the key to the next level.